ABC 10 News at 7 starts now.
A situation getting worse. Governor Newsom is opening the federal medical station in Escondido as the county deals with a record number of COVID-19 deaths. Good evening, I'm Lindsay Pena.
And I'm Derek Stahl. Steve and Kim are off tonight. Today, the county reported a record 39 new deaths, along with another 2,600 new cases. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala is live with the Emergency Medical Center activated today. Mimi?
Yeah, and at this point, it's still not clear how exactly this federal medical station will be staffed or when exactly it will begin operating. But here is what Governor Gavin Newsom had to say today.
We are bringing a fifth alternative care site out of warm status. We're standing up that site, an FMS site down in San Diego.
So there are 202 beds total on the 10th and 11th floors at Palomar Medical Center in Escondido. A few weeks ago, the chief medical officer of Palomar Health told us that the beds would be used for patients that do not require ICU care. So they would offload some of the less sick patients from other county hospitals that do become overwhelmed to free up room for sicker patients at those hospitals. We still don't know when patients will start being accepted. And right now in Southern California, in our region, our ICU capacity is currently at 0%. While we do still have some ICU beds here in San Diego County, the big problem is making sure there's enough staff to care for the patients. Scripps Health CEO Chris Van Gorder spoke at the county news conference this afternoon and says they've stopped elective surgeries and they're only moving forward with cases that just cannot be postponed. So right now, county leaders and hospital officials are really urging everyone to only gather with your immediate family this Christmas. Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
Important advice, Mimi, thanks. Cruise ships are returning to the Embarcadero, but you won't find any passengers on them for months. A Holland America ship returned to the port of San Diego this morning. It's one of 5 cruise ships scheduled to dock here and fuel up and resupply. Now, this is just a test phase during which cruises must simulate voyages to prove they're COVID safe. The cruise industry is desperately looking to get people back on board as soon as possible.
Say the cruise line, you could make a case, has been the most hardest hit from a financial standpoint.
The port says Holland America has some cruises scheduled to depart in April and May, but they'll only be able to set sail if they get their certifications from the CDC. Well, you can stay on top of any new developments with the coronavirus by downloading our 10 News app. A free version is available in the App Store.
One of the prosecutors who got Duncan Hunter to admit to fraud says his efforts were not in vain. That prosecutor spoke to ABC 10 News reporter John Horn about his reaction to President Trump pardoning the former San Diego congressman.
Phil Halpern says he saw Duncan Hunter's pardon coming.
While I am appalled as a citizen, I'm not surprised given the prior conduct of the president.
Halpern was one of the U.S. attorneys who prosecuted Duncan Hunter and his wife Margaret in 2019. They were accused of misusing $250,000 of campaign contributions for personal expenses and falsifying reports. Hunter called the charges a political hit job, but in December 2019 pleaded guilty to 1 felony count, ultimately resigning. His 11-month prison term was set to start in January, but President Trump pardoned him Tuesday.
It was important not only that he be convicted, but that he admit his wrongdoing. He spent too much time claiming that his prosecution was political.
On Wednesday, Hunter's father, former Congressman Duncan Lee Hunter, maintained the charges were political and that this should have been handled civilly by the Federal Election Commission.
Congressman, at the end of the day, your son pleaded guilty to a felony. I mean, what say you about that?
Well, and what I say is there was, at the end of the line, you've got one last receptacle of justice, and that's the President of the United States. And he looked at this Marine Corps marathon, First Lady's luncheon. They're going to try to put this guy in jail for that. He saw the injustice of that.
Hunter Sr. says Duncan is now working for a construction company. John Horn, ABC 10 News.
And late today, President Trump also pardoned Hunter's wife, Margaret. She had been sentenced to several months of home confinement after cooperating with prosecutors for her part in the campaign fraud.
Now to a red flag warning. Power shutoffs have already started in the East County because of the high winds, and there may be more shutoffs to come. ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz explains how it's forcing some San Diegans to change their holiday plans.
It's not something anyone asked for Christmas this year, but power shutoffs may be a reality for more than 30,000 San Diego families. There have already been 4 public safety power shutoffs by SDG&E so far this year. For East County residents, that's 4 times too many.
It's incredibly inconvenient. It's frustrating.
Billy Feldman works at the Villa Chardonnay Horse Sanctuary in Julian, where she cares for 350 horses. During the last power shutoff just 3 weeks ago, Feldman was pleading for help when they couldn't run their wells to give their animals water. After seeing our story on 10 News, a viewer donated an industrial-sized generator that may be their saving grace this time around.
Thank you so much for your help with that.
But the generator won't power everything they'll need.
You get reminded of how to embrace some of the basic things that we take advantage of or we take for granted. Basic things like hot water and the refrigerator, or using the microwave.
Now forced to change holiday plans with the threat of being in the dark at any moment.
There's no Christmas tree lights. Cooking isn't going to happen here.
The Weather Service tells ABC 10 News there's been 12 Santa Ana wind events so far this year, which is above average. The threat of fire is always present for East County residents. But in a year like 2020 and right during the holidays, it hits a little harder.
We're going to get through it. It's just a lot more stress.
Jennifer Dela Cruz, ABC 10 News.
And that wind is expected to pick up as the night goes on. Meteorologist Angelica Campos joins us live from home with more on that. Angelica?
That's right, and we've seen that wind pick up over the last hour. It'll continue to be gusty, potentially damaging winds expected overnight before it starts to get better during the day on Thursday. Right now, the winds are already over 50 miles per hour. It's been like that in Alpine now for about an hour or so. The wind's picking up in Ramona, up to 26 miles per hour. As we speak, 27 in Julian, and lighter winds as you travel down towards Mountain Laguna. Relative humidity is so low, ranging in the teens, that critical fire danger will continue. In the combination of the winds and low relative humidity leading to critical fire danger, so a red flag warning will be in effect until at least midday tomorrow. Just to give you an idea of what those winds are capable of doing tonight, by 11:30, some areas like Poway could see wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. We'll keep an eye on everything, plus the chance for rain in our 7-day forecast. We have that for you coming up.
All right, thanks, Angelica. Today, Governor Newsom formally introduced San Diego Assemblywoman Shirley Weber as his nominee for California Secretary of State. Weber says her family is overjoyed.
My grandkids are just in awe. You know, they say there's 2 people that live in our house. There's their grandmother, and then there's this lady who they say who has power. And that's what my 9-year-old.
If confirmed, Weber will be the first Black woman to serve as California's Secretary of State. She replaces Alex Padilla, who is taking Kamala Harris's Senate seat.
An Escondido woman is accused of killing her live-in boyfriend. 52-year-old Shirley Reeves called police last night to say her roommate was dead. When officers arrived, they found her boyfriend's body with obvious signs of trauma. They later arrested Reeves. Police say they also arrested her 6 days ago for suspected domestic abuse after she fought with her boyfriend, who she had accused of the time of abusing her cats. His name has not been released yet.
New developments in the killing of a woman on a Carlsbad hiking trail last month. Prosecutors want the court to consider trying the accused teenage killer as an adult. ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner tracked down the suspect's grandmother, who maintains he is not a killer.
The DA's office said it will take almost a year before a hearing is set for a judge to determine whether to try the teen as an adult. On Wednesday, ABC 10 News spoke to the grandmother of the 17-year-old who's accused of stabbing Lisa Thorborg to death on a Carlsbad hiking trail in November.
We had a discussion with them last night.
Christy Hernandez said she talked to her grandson just after Tuesday's hearing, where new surveillance images were revealed, and the judge allowed the release of the teen's name, Aloha Bodette, but images of his face are to remain withheld from the public. Hernandez said he told her this.
You and Papa don't worry. Tell everyone in the family that I'll be okay and I'll be home soon.
Wednesday, the DA's office confirmed that it filed a motion to ask the judge to try him as an adult. The prosecution said this week that a surveillance camera captured him running barefoot on the street, away from the trail a few minutes after Thorborg was believed to have been killed. Other images show him on the trail in the days after the murder. His DNA, detectives said, was found on the victim's shorts, and a pair of his sandals were found near her body. But his attorneys argue that he is a free spirit who often left his sandals behind, and Thorborg may have picked them up, which is how his DNA got on her.
He would not have done this. It's like stabbing me in the neck.
Hernandez said he had been living with her and doing online schooling for the last 2 months after moving here from Hawaii. She described him as a kind young man, incapable of violence.
We go to the store, he's helping little old ladies pick out which watermelon's a good one and which grapes are the sweetest, and holding doors open. So this is just really baffles me. I feel bad. They got the wrong person. The killer's still out there.
The teen's attorney said no weapons were found on him and he had no injuries or signs of a struggle on his body. Jennifer Kastner, ABC 10 News.